We've got some exciting news over here at Before the Echo. I just linked up with Latitude Outdoors, the crew behind the saddle platform and sticks I've been using all year long, at least for last year. Personally, I love the Method 2 saddle. I had the options of using all kinds of saddles, and that's the one I chose. My dad liked the classic model. He used that all year. Let me tell you, their carbon sticks, the carbon SS sticks, they're really good too. A lot of guys love those sticks. I love them too. I used them quite a bit last year. But these guys over at Latitude, they're not just good folks that I wanted to partner with. They're also offering our listeners a pretty sweet deal. You got 20% off everything on their website using code BTE20. If you're in the market right now for some new mobile hunting gear, head over to latitudeoutdoors.com and use the code BTE20 before May 20th rolls around. You don't want to miss this deal. It's time to start thinking about whitetail gear. ASIO Gear, it offers a fantastic solution for any of your clothing needs. They've crafted a premium line of bow hunting gear that stands out in quality, especially for the price point. What's more, every purchase from ASIO comes with a lifetime warranty. That gives you some peace of mind there with clothing. With their unique camo pattern and great technology in their garments, ASIO ensures you'll stay comfortable in the stand or in the saddle, or whatever you're using. And here's the kicker. ASIO is offering a special deal to listeners. If you use the code ECHO15 at checkout, you can get 15% off your purchase of anything on the ASIO's website. So visit ASIOgear.com today to explore the selection of premium hunting clothing that they have over there. The folks over at Excess Outdoor Gear have some exciting releases lined up for this year. The first one is that new Lift 4K camera, along with their Arrival A5 and their MMT and NIS arrows. But what truly sets Excess apart for me is their commitment to their customers. They by far have the best YouTube channel in their realm, and also have some great podcasts on their platforms that provides their customers with all kinds of information, truly making you a better deer hunter for being involved with Exodus Outdoor Gear. Plus, they're offering an exclusive 15% discount on their entire website for listeners of this podcast by using the code ECHO. So don't miss out. Grab your Excess Outdoor Gear at excessoutdoorgear.com and use code ECHO to save some cash. In the woods, noise can be the difference between getting you a big buck and going home empty-handed. To almost guarantee stealth and silence, stealth strips are an absolute essential tool for all your gear. It's plain and simple. If you're not using stealth strips, you're not giving it your all in the deer woods. Lou, over at Stealth Outdoors, crafted the finest silencing tape on the market, bar none. So, head over to stealthoutdoors.com to grab yourself some stealth strips and ensure your gear is dead silent before deer season arrives this year. All my partners are in the description of this podcast. Go check them out. What up, everybody? Patrick's muted. Flying start this evening. You're still muted. Oh, okay. Double tap.
There we go.
Got it.
My bad, everybody.
Oh, hope everybody's doing good tonight.
Has anybody ever told you your dad looks like Bob Fulcrod?
My dad?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about.
No.
Kind of does. A mix between him and was it Don Higgins? Like that picture, at least that you have. I think he looks like Bob Fulcrod.
Maybe.
That's a compliment in the hunting woods.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it the looks of Bob Fulcrod or the hunting skills of Bob Fulcrod? That's
it's the hunting skills for sure. I mean, and I'm not saying anything about your dad's looks. I mean, I'm not going there. I'm just saying he looks like Bob Fulcrod.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to look at it later.
It's hard to think of your dad and think of he looks like someone because you know them so intimately, you know.
Well, my dad looked like Kenny Rogers, man. That's what everybody used to say. Your dad looks just like Kenny Rogers, and he kind of.
I don't even know what your dad looks like.
Yeah, I'll have to show you a picture of him sometime.
Yeah, because I never seen him. I don't think.
Yeah, he looks like Kenny Rogers. He did. He looked like Kenny Rogers.
Right.
So
yeah. Anyway, you've been out turkey hunting?
I wish you had Kenny's money.
Yeah. If I had Kenny's money, I'd throw mine away.
Yeah. Yeah, I burned mine. You know what I said when I was like first heard that? I was like 16 and I was working at that hunting and fishing store in Memphis, Buck and Bass. And I told somebody, I said, man, if I had the owner had a lot of money, and I said, man, if I had his money, I'd burn it. And they were like, you burn it? I was like, no, I mean, I burn mine.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a good start
yeah,
to the podcast. Talking about
yeah,
we're going to talk about coveting others' materials, and then we.
yeah. And I'll burn it. I'll get it and I'll burn
Oh, that's
it.
funny. You been out and about turkey hunting or messing around in the woods?
Yeah, we're still playing around with them. We got one more week left of season here. We have the season that never ends. So, yeah, I saw. I had right behind my house. I've been watching these gobblers. There was 9 jakes, 3 longbeards out there the other day, and they're kind of hanging around this soybean field. It's got beans about 4 inches high, I guess, and there's some grass on the side that's on a private property. It's not the soybean field. It's another man owns it. And I guess the hens must be nesting there because they're there every day. They were right up by the road the other day at like 8 o'clock, so I'm sure they roosted right in this driveway. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, they're still running around. It's about over though. They're kind of over it, I think.
Right now, you just got to get kind of lucky and run into one to kill one right now, or
yeah, they're not going to gobble at you much or come to a lot. They'll come to your calls, but they're going to take their time, and they're not. They know
Right.
they know the hens are all sitting right now.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a good season. I had a lot of fun for what I hunted.
I haven't been seeing any out and about here in Indiana the last week.
Really, it's hot. Starts getting hot, and I mean they're
What-
black. So,
What do turkeys think about hot weather?
they pant and stuff just to try to cool off, just like deer will. I don't know if you ever seen deer. Where they run and they, dogs and stuff. I've seen them pant like that before when it gets hot. They like to find. They're just like deer. They just kind of stay in the woods and find cooler areas. That's why you ever notice when it's really hot in the summertime, you rarely see them in fields or out in the sun.
Right.
Like they're still in the fields right now because they still have breeding on their mind. The gobblers do, and the hens are still they're sitting, and some of them are they'll get up, run out, feed a little bit, and run right back to the nest. And I think they try to catch them in between there and see if they're game for breeding. But yeah, once July gets here, I just don't see them until the fall. They get in those big flocks.
Yeah, they're such different animals, like extremely different in the fall than they are in the spring. I don't know.
Yeah, and they'll be in totally different space too in the spring or in the fall as they are in the spring. Like you might not have any on your place. You think, oh, my place doesn't have turkeys, and you go there and it's covered up in them. Because it has the habitat they like for the springtime.
What's the difference? Like, what's the habitat they like in the fall versus the spring?
Well, the fall gives them more. Well, they like open areas. They don't like thick areas with a lot of low ground cover and stuff, high stem count stuff. They don't like that. So in the in the wintertime, all that stuff opens up, so it gives them a lot more territory to roam, and they're in bigger groups. So and the only thing really around, because the bugs are kind of scarce, I would imagine in the wintertime, they're eating a lot more old seeds and whatever bugs they can find, and then acorns and stuff like that. So
that makes sense.
it just kind of opens it up. And then in the spring, they kind of stay in those areas early, and then they start moving more towards nesting habitat for hens. And then that's when if you got good nesting habitat, you're going to have turkeys if they're around. So that's kind of the best thing to probably do if you own a piece of property, is make sure you have the right kind of nesting habitat for them.
What's the ideal nesting habitat for them?
High grass. They like blowdowns, but I mean, you're not going to have a lot of that. Cutover, they like cutovers for nesting on the edges of fields, because when they have their poults, they're going to look for a place that their poults can run in and hide if a predator comes around. So they're going to want to take their poults out in an easy low grass area to feed. And then that way, if something comes by, she can just make a call, and they'll all huddle up and go up in the little grassy stuff and hide, And then, I've seen hens, man, they'll fight. Funny story. My wife and I were on my friend's place one time, and it was probably in June, and I was going to freshen up a salt lick, and put a camera on it. It's like June or July. It might have been July. And she had a bunch of poults that she just dropped. She was late, actually. It was really late for her to have poults, and they were itty bitty. And man, that hen, he used those bad boy buggy golf carts. So, was driving through, and I almost ran over her and the hen. She was laying there with her wings out on top of them. Well, when we got up, all I heard was, her beep, 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 beep. And then I looked, you could see the grass moving all underneath her. Man, she started attacking the cart and like running at the cart and purring real aggressively. And, she wasn't having it, man. It was pretty neat. So I turned around and said, man, I could have grabbed one of those. I want one. My wife and I want a gobbler, but.
Your friend is a gobbler.
Huh?
Tell the story about the people down the road from you that have that gobblers, but they call it they don't really know.
They call it she.
Yeah.
So the ladies across the street were sitting on the porch one time, and I was driving down the road, and I saw this tame turkey, and it's white and it's got brown in its tail fan and everything. It's basically white with black tips. It's tame, big old head, big old legs, little bitty beard like that. It's all curly, but it's not a Jake because he's got probably inch and a quarter spurs. And so I go driving by. I'm like, oh crap, because I just love turkeys anytime I see them. So I backed the car up, and I saw him, and he was gobbling and limping. His tail fan was missing all the feathers in the center. And so I said, man, I didn't know she had a turkey. And they said, oh yeah, that turkey's lived there for a while. I said, really? Yeah, she got hit by a car last week, and she's been limping. And I was thinking, dang it, that turkey got hit by a car. I was like, and I rolled off. I was like, no, that's a gobbler. And I got him to gobble. You could yell at him, yeah, and he'd, gobble at you. I was like, yeah, he might not come back out on that road anytime soon. Knowing he was limping bad like this every time.
You ain't seen him in a while, right?
Man, I almost wonder I hadn't seen him since about a week after that. I almost wonder if he might have died from his injuries. I didn't see a feather pile by the road. So yeah, I don't know if he got hit by a car or a predator got him or something.
Or they may have cooked him for dinner one night too. Who knows?
Man, times are tough. The economy keeps getting any worse, man. I'll be eating my dogs.
Yeah.
No.
That's funny.
But
man, our dog, I don't know what happened to her. Friday, so like Thursday, she was like limping on her front left paw. And I'm like, oh, she probably just stepped on something or got stung by a bee. Didn't really. I mean, I looked at it. It looked fine.
Yeah.
Her bones, nothing. She could walk on it. She just is limping. I was like, what the heck, whatever. And Friday, we went and looked at her, and she like wouldn't get up at all.
You're right.
And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And then when she would get up, you'd have to pick her up, and then she would just kind of.
Your new dog?
Yeah,
Your
Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie. Yeah,
old pup.
Yeah,
and she walked. She couldn't hardly walk. She'd get outside and just lay back down, and I'm like, oh no, Well, friend of ours works for a vet. We called her. She called the vet, and the vet just said, keep her in a kennel until Monday, and if she's not better by Monday, bring her in. Like kennel rest her essentially. And man, Sunday she was fine again.
Yeah, weird, man. Weird. I'm bad at. Well, my wife and I both, we're bad about like going, oh God, we got to get them to the vet, and then you spend all that money, and they're like, oh, they have a toenail that's crooked. And you're like, what?
And that's what I kind of was like.
She was dead yesterday, and now she's running around the yard just fine because of a toenail. It's weird. I wish I could.
And I don't know. This is just my like assumption maybe, but like, I don't know. She's like a baby still, she's a pup. And I just wonder if she was being like whiny, like just being like she was sore from something she did to her leg, and she was just being, the next day it was even more sore or something. And she was just being a baby, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's how they think or not.
Molly did that. So when she was like, probably a year old, we had her fixed. We had her and Sadie fixed. And like day 2, she goes running out the door, chasing a squirrel with Remy. And they tried to go through the same tree. The 2 trees are like this. Well, Remy's was quite a bit bigger, and he's heavier than her. And I guess he beat her to it, and she dislocated her leg. So we had to have surgery. She had to have surgery on it, where they went in and they wired it back in the joint because they couldn't get the joint back to stay. Like my vet who I hunted with yesterday, he couldn't get the joint. He couldn't get to stay. Put it in traction, and it came back out. So he's like, look, just take her to the surgeon and have him do it. So he did that, and I talked to Ben yesterday about it. He was like, oh yeah, she's better than that'll be her best leg. And she was limping one time, and I was like, oh crap, man, that leg's giving her trouble. So I took her to the vet, And he was like, no, it's not that leg. It's the other leg that's messed up. And she's got a little bit of arthritis in it. I think she just torqued it funny or something, and it was just hurting her. I don't think it was anything to do with arthritis, but the other leg that she actually hurt and injured is perfect. There's no calcification, no arthritis, nothing. But her leg that didn't have it is got a little arthritis in it. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Very little though. Not a whole lot. So
I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't ever take her to the vet because she's fine now or whatever,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we did give her some tick and flea medicine like a couple weeks ago, but I would have thought she'd already had a reaction to that if she was going to, because I know that can make them
Kind
have
of
some.
sick.
Yeah,
Weird.
but I would have thought that it would have been already, happened if it was going to happen.
How's she doing on the sheds?
I mean, she did pretty good this summer or this fall whenever we took her and stuff.
Have you been working with her any, or?
Yeah, she likes to play with her antler and whatnot.
Are you still sending her to that lady that does it, or?
No.
Okay, you're just gonna do it yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty.
Yeah,
easy.
she's pretty well. I mean, she could find them now.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is just getting her in front of sheds. Shed season next year, going a little more.
Yeah, I did that with Sadie, and she was pretty good at it. But I mean, she found some sheds. But when you're training them, you got to get your scent off of them because they'll look for your scent, and then they're no good. Sight too. You want to get them where they can use their vision, but I don't know. They showed like wearing rubber gloves and like, I don't know, washing the antlers and doing all this stuff that you're using for shed. I mean, I don't know. I have so many sheds in there in my thing. I got enough to use for a while if I was doing dogs,
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to have her out there walking around with you too. Like, it's not that big a deal if she's not like a phenomenal shed hunter, but she's real interested in them still. So
how old is she now?
She's only 7 months old.
Okay, so she's still a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I started training Sadie when she was, I started her out messing with sheds for like 8 weeks. And not like she wasn't a shed dog, so don't get it wrong. But I started her with that and with the duck stuff. The what you call it, like retrieving and stuff at like 8 weeks. And by about 16 weeks, she's pretty good. That's amazing how fast they learn. With the
they're smart dogs.
Yeah, she was pretty exceptional too. I got lucky with her. She's very smart.
Yeah, Rosie she's very well mannered, which is more important to me really than being real smart, I guess. Like, I just want her to be a good dog,
Yeah, got a good off switch. As they say. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and she seems to have that, because I had a lab when I was younger, and man, he was on fire all the time, man.
This one right here don't have an off switch. No off switch for this little guy. He's something else.
Tucker, right?
Yeah, it's Tucker. He stinks right now. I think he got into something back here in the backyard.
Those little dogs, man, they have an attitude towards them. We got a little poodle, and he's the same way. He's just a butthole, man.
Yeah. He's something
to other dogs.
He's cool when he's sleeping,
Yeah.
He's mama's baby. They're all with her right now in the backyard. They love her.
I don't think me and my wife were talking about that. I don't think if we ever get another dog, I don't think we'll get a small little yipper dog like we have, like Hank.
Yeah. They're fun. I like having them. Like, I love Tucker. He's fun, and you just feel some sort of way about him, like they're your little baby.
I know.
The bigger dogs, like whatever. But like him, like, he's got to sleep in the bed with us in between us, and he goes under the covers, and he snuggles with me, and they'll snuggle with her, and they'll lay on your it's just different from the big ones. We don't let do that. They try. We have to pick them out of the bed all the time.
Yeah, we do the same thing. I mean, Rosie sleeps in her kennel still. I mean, she's kennel trained or whatever, so she'll probably sleep in there, and if we don't close the door, she goes and lays in there. But Hank has always been in our bed, but he's just frustrating sometimes. Like, they like to bark crap.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And he's not very friendly with other dogs. He's fine with humans, other than my dad. He didn't like my dad, but
yeah.
Like,
why do you like your dad? Because he knows your dad's Bob Fullcrod. and Bob Fullcrod kills everything.
I don't know why he doesn't. He's never liked him.
That's weird.
I don't know if he comes if he puts off some intimidation thing to him or something. And my dad's kind of like, he gets he's not excited, but like when he comes in here, he's always messing with Huck, wrestling with him, or picking up Hayes real fast, or just, so I don't know if Huck or Hank feels that like tension or something.
Yeah.
He didn't like my dad.
That's crazy.
So he goes insane when my dad walks in. But
yeah,
he's not the only person that does that too.
You seen how Tucker acts when you come in. He's crazy for a minute, and then he kind of settles down. He's like, okay, he's good.
Yeah.
Everybody seems okay with Josh.
Well, that's how Hank is too, but except for with my dad. He doesn't put his guard down with my dad.
Man, that's crazy.
But yeah, it's weird.
And they got our neighbor's dog Tame too. Like when our neighbors let the dog out like same time every day. And like as soon as he comes out, if the wind's blowing in this direction, you'll see him start smelling the air. All the Molly does. Remy doesn't care, but Molly does. And then Tucker and her will run up and down the fence, barking at him, up and down the fence. That's their thing, man. They look forward to it every day.
Yeah.
I wonder what goes through their head every day.
I don't know. Probably not a lot.
No. When is my owner coming home, and when am I going to eat? They're squirrels.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
And those all them little quirks they have.
Yeah.
Their routines.
I'd rather be around dogs than people too, man. I cannot. Yeah, I love dogs. I envy those people that train them, and like that's their passion, and they love being around them. Like, what better job would you have than just being around a bunch of animals that love you all the time?
I know.
There's a reason why they're named dog, God backwards. That's what I always say.
Yeah. There you go.
They got the heart of Christ, man, for sure. They love everybody most of the time.
They have some pretty the good ones have some unconditional love for you. That is for sure.
Their owner, they sure do.
Well, we probably should start talking about our topic because it's kind of a big one.
Talking about Johnny Cash and his journey to Christianity. No,
there you go.
Just had to wear my cash. There it is.
That's funny.
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah. I was going to mention before we go, if you guys didn't notice in the intro, today is the last day for the Latitude discount code. It'll be gone tomorrow morning. So if you're on the fence about something, make a decision here pretty quickly. In the next before midnight tonight, I assume that's when it goes off.
I wonder if any of these companies are going to have a Memorial Day sale too. I guess that might be their Memorial Day sale.
I don't know. I
guess you'd know about it if they were.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're all got going on.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of told me they'd probably do these things every now and again throughout the year, but they, it could vary on percentage off and all that kind of thing. So
they really do it a lot. These companies really seem like these, straight to consumer companies that use YouTubers to sell their products, and they have really great products. It seems like they do a lot of that during the year. Like several times a year, they offer really good discounts. It seems like.
Yeah. Yep. But anyways, that's going out tonight if you want to get something before then. Okay. Me and Patrick were going back and forth this weekend today about what we want to talk about, and we decided to talk about it's really the 10th commandment, which is in Exodus when God's going through the commandments. You should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife or his male servant or his female servant or his ox or his donkey or anything that is your neighbor's. And I got to studying this today, and man, this is mentioned in almost, it seemed like every chapter there was a passage about coveting others' materials and becoming materialistic. I'm talking Colossians, Exodus, 1 John, Hebrews, Luke, 1st, 2nd Timothy, Ephesians, Deuteronomy, Isaiah, Matthew, James, John, 1st, 2nd Peter. They all talk about coveting things, and it seems to be something that we all really, really struggle with in life. So maybe that's why it talks about it so much in the Bible. Me and Patrick actually talked about 1 John. I think it may have been the second or first episode of this.
I think the second episode we did was the love of the world. Yeah.
And that's kind of talking about coveting others' materials. And then Hebrews has, in Hebrews 13, there's a verse in there, and I, for some reason, didn't write down the chapter is 13, but I'm not sure what verse it is. But it says, "Let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have." Hebrews talks about that for a while. Matthew, that's where Jesus tells us that if your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out, because it's better to have one member of your body in hell than your entire body.
Yep.
And they were specifically talking about coveting things and that too. So, what did you had some verses that you were interested in too, weren't you?
It was the ones that you just mentioned, the books that you mentioned. Mine was in Luke. It was the same thing Jesus said in Matthew. You know, a lot of that's just, you know, they say the same thing over and over that he said, and they just word it differently. But yeah, I think it can be a problem in everyday life. You know, also, you know, just to bring it back to what your channel's about. You know, the it can be also with hunting and stuff. But
Yeah.
you know, we all have blessings that probably everybody looks at us and thinks, man, I want to be like him. And we look at people and think, man, I want to be like, not necessarily like him, but I want to have the things he has. And then some people, you know, everybody probably does it to a point. I like to try to think I don't really care what other people have. I really don't. Like maybe hunting land. That'd probably be the one thing that I'm like, man, I wish I had his hunting land, you know, but money and stuff like that, I don't really care. You know, if somebody has a lot of time, that's my thing. I love time.
Yeah.
Time where you're not having to, where you can enjoy the life that God gave us. So that would probably be the thing that I covet, is people that get to have a lot of time doing stuff. But I wouldn't even say I covet it or envy them. I just look at them and I'm like, man, that guy's got a lot of time. I need to figure out a way to do that, you know. But I'm blessed. You know, I think most everyone is blessed just to be given a shot at life. So, you know, when we look at other people's things that they have, those, I don't think that's very Christ-like, and according to Christ, it's not. And then I don't think God really looks good upon that.
And I think anybody that's probably got the means or the time to, you know, listen to this conversation we're having here is probably in that same boat where we're probably blessed beyond measure. And I think the problem with coveting things is like that's where you lose your thankfulness, or you kind of your heart gets hardened with the lack of understanding of the blessings that you have. Whenever you're like, man, that guy gets a new bow every year. That'd be nice, you know,
Yeah.
or that guy has some sweet hunting land. That'd be nice, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
Or anything, you know, like, I mean, God talks a lot about, you know, the coveting your neighbor's wife is talked about a bunch. And that, you know, I think that maybe related to coveting your people's families, or, you know, what other people you see on the internet have, and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's like, I think you have a lot more opportunity this day and age to be jealous of others.
Oh, most
Uh,
definitely.
it's a
Yeah.
much harder commandment to follow than it probably used to be.
Yeah. You know, John said something yesterday. We were having a talk and we were talking about, you know, Jesus and God and Christianity and the Bible and all that yesterday after our hunt that morning. We were sitting around just, you know, eating a little breakfast and trying to hydrate with it being so hot here. And, you know, he made a good mention. He says people in other countries, like your third world countries and stuff, they just pray to have the strength to make it through the struggle. And we here pray for things. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Or pray not to have the struggle. We don't pray that our back. He said that they pray that their back is strong enough. They pray to God, you know, please help me and make my back strong enough to handle this world. And we, a lot of the times in America, I don't do it. I feel like it's wrong to do it, but I think a lot of people do it sometimes. And I'm not saying they're bad. I just think it's a misunderstanding in what God wants. But I think a lot of people pray like, man, I really hope I can get this job. I really hope I can, you know, pass this test tomorrow. I really hope I get this buck. I really hope the birds gobble, you know, please, and pray to God about that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
like, I feel like, man, if you do that, you're definitely gonna not get it. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Um,
I mean, I think God wants you to pray about everything. I don't think, you know, I think He commands you to. Your prayer may just be setting and think, like not even praying, just sitting with Him quiet. You know,
mhm.
I think that is something that I used to think the same thing, Patrick. I'd be like, it used to annoy me to no ends about when people would pray, like, I hope, man, God, please send me a big buck to kill. You know, it's like I used to be like, man, God doesn't care about your big buck. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and He,
yeah.
you
That's how
know,
I think. That's me right
well,
there.
and yeah, and I think that's maybe the wrong way to think about it. Like, I think God wants you to pray about that. I think He wants you to pray about, um, you know, getting through struggles like John was talking about.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't think he cares what you pray for. I think he just wants to, he's your father. He wants to have a relationship with you.
Right.
He wants you to include him in everything you think about and everything you do. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with. Now, if the only time you ever come to him is when you need something, that's when you start to cross, this line of like, okay, that's probably not the proper way of going about things,
Right.
But I don't think it's necessarily wrong to, set up and pray that, hey, if it's your will, let me get this job or whatever. I think it, but
Let your will be done. I always, if
yeah,
you end everything with that, like, hey, I'd really, really like this to happen. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I know it's your will, whether it happens or not. I mean, because Jesus prayed and
hmm
talked to God about not having to do what he had to do.
yeah,
Take this cup from me,
hmm
And at the end of the day, he said, "But your will, not mine, be
yeah,
done on earth as it is in heaven." And that's also the Lord's prayer. Your will, not mine. So as long as you kind of keep that in there, it'll help you. That's the
yeah,
proper way, I think, to pray. I mean, Jesus tells us the proper way to pray. He says the Lord's prayer, and he says, "Don't ramble." I know
mm,
it's Zeke will probably know the verse and everything, but he does talk about not rambling on to God about things, and then he gives you the Lord's prayer. Our Father who art in heaven. And he goes through that, and he says this is the proper way. He shows us how to pray, which doesn't say anything about wanting your friend's stuff.
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know if you should. I mean, it'd be a weird thing to pray about, like, hey, God, please let me get this new RV or whatever.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of weird, I think.
yeah. Maybe thank him
But,
for the ability to work and get it and stuff like that.
yeah.
I always try to thank him when I pray. Thank him for the and weird enough, where I got that from is have you seen the movie Book of Eli?
Mm-mm.
Great movie. It's got Denzel Washington in it, and he's carrying this Bible. Um, it's apocalyptic show, and there's one copy of the Bible left on Earth. I'm not going to try to spoil it, but he's carrying it with him, and he's listening to a voice to carry it west. And so through the thing, he meets a girl, and she's not a Christian because there's no Christianity. This is after this big thing happened, and there's no Bibles, and they were all burned because people, blame God for everything that happened and burn the Bibles. Well, anyway, long and short is he shows her how to pray, and when he prays, he prays for everything, the strength. He thanks God for the air, for the shelter, for the food, for the companionship of the girl that's there, things like that. He does not once pray for a material thing on this earth. He prays for all the things that God already gives us. And when I heard him pray that way, and it's just a movie, it's fiction, but it's you need to watch it because it's a damn great movie. You'll be like, and it's got a twist at the end, and you're like, whoa, which is even more faith based, kind of show you what it is. But anyway, that kind of showed me kind of a way, and I started thinking about it, like, man, you never know what you'll pick up. But it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, probably need to pray for things that I have, and God, because God knows what we need. He knows
Mm-hmm.
what you need and what you want. He knows everything. So, I think, like you said, just spending time with him and talking to him, he likes that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, as long as you're, like you said, including him and everything, and thinking about him in regards to whatever's happening in your life, good or bad, I think that's what God wants us to do.
Right.
Um, just reading through some of the comments, making sure
Yeah.
there's nothing real intriguing or anything. Anyway, somehow we got off on a tangent on prayer, but praying,
Well, I think it
that
has.
could be a whole podcast in
Yeah,
itself.
that'd be a good one. Sorry, I
Yeah.
derailed us here. I just took the train over.
No, that's what it's about, man.
We're talking about everything, but back to
Yeah.
coveting.
I'm bad about prayer, man. Like sometimes I, go days without praying. Well, we pray at meals every day, but um, yeah, I don't know.
That's something I need to
It's
start doing.
yeah,
Praying
uh,
at meals.
but getting better at it. Just trying to work on it,
Yeah,
Uh, I think, yeah, and man, Huck, like, kids will humble you sometimes. Like Huck likes to pray, you know, he'll tell us like if we're out to eat or something, and he's like, we forgot to pray, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
that's
yeah, buddy,
awesome.
you're right, you know.
That's
But
awesome.
kids have no shame, you know. It's like they're like, this is what we're supposed to do. Why care?
Yeah.
Why do you care about what the people next to you think or whatever, you know?
Well, that says a lot about you too, that he's actually going to check his dad and his mom for not praying at a meal, that you instilled that in him at such a young age. Because when I was young, nobody ever prayed at meals. I saw it and I was always uncomfortable doing it. Until I became a Christian. And then, you know, I started praying at certain events and meals. You know, I'd take the prayer, or, you know, let somebody else take it that had something to say and that was comfortable with it. But it's amazing how many people are uncomfortable talking to God in front of other people. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people
are. Yeah, we make him pray every meal too. Like he has to do the prayer.
Oh, man.
So
Y'all are militant, man. Pray, huh? You're not eating. Pray and eat your vegetables.
He doesn't even think about it now. I mean, whenever
awesome.
you're that age, man, that's all you know. Like whatever your parents make you do, you know.
Yeah, and that'll be cool because he'll, you know, and you never know what somebody's looking at you, and it kind of, this will go kind of back. Well, let's go back into coveting with this. Is like your example that you set too. That's probably the only thing. If you're a better Christian than someone else, or I won't say better, but if you are further along in your walk and you're walking and inspiring people and trying to do things, you know, I think that when other people see you do that, if they want that, you know, that's what God tells us. Let them see Christ in you. And so that they want that, they want what you have in that, not your material things in this world. But man, you know, Josh is really open with his Christianity and his relationship with Christ. And I can go to him and ask him questions and he can answer them. Even though we're no experts, as we say every time when we do this podcast, we're better than other people and we're not as good as other people when it comes to our knowledge and our walk. You know, we're further along. I won't say better, further along. And so
we get it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I think people could look at that and want that. And I think that's maybe a healthy thing to want that someone else has. I think materialistic things, you know, are definitely something that, you know, they don't bring you anything in the eternity.
Yeah. I think most people, the problem is there's a lot of want in the world and not enough like desire to work to get that want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like me and you always talk about people that can like rehearse the Bible and know it like the back of their hand. He's like, yeah, you know how you get to do that? Like you study it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, I want to build this business and I want to be with my family and I want to do all these other things, you know. It's like, well, you know, that person probably spent 20 years just reading the Bible every day and studying it for, you know, an hour a day or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
So, or we get jealous of, you know, we get jealous of Mark Jury's hunting land. It's like, well, he built a big old business, probably
Mm-hmm.
sacrificed a whole bunch of stuff when he was younger and bought
He hit
some
it at
hunting
the right
land.
time too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, there's like 5 people making videos when he started. And,
yeah.
you know,
And it's like, you know, if you weren't alive or you were, you know, those memes, have you seen those memes of like me in 1996 when I should have been buying hunting land and they're like a toddler or whatever,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
you know? It's like, well, you can't do anything about it anyway. Quit worrying about it. You know,
Yeah.
like it wasn't your time.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it.
God's got you right where he wants you. I had a friend of mine that he used to be my partner on the police department. And, you know, he, through a set of circumstances, he's not anymore. And he's a good guy. He's a Christian. But he, you know, he struggles with some things. And, you know, I told him the other day, just, you know, trying to encourage him, I said, look, man, quit dwelling on the past. God has you where you want you. And if you find peace in that, then you don't need what everybody else has. You know what I mean? If you're good with knowing that you're exactly where God wants you to be at that time, whether it's in a bad place or a good place, you're there for a reason, I think. And something good will come out of it, even if it's bad. Usually, you know, there's always a silver lining. You might not see it now, but you might see it later on. If you put your faith in God, and, you know, in Christ. If you don't, then, you know, he's probably still going to keep hammering you in the head until you do.
Right.
As someone that's been hammered in the head several times.
Yeah.
When I was
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the that I think that's the biggest thing about like whenever you want something, like generally, you know, unless it's some weird thing that you want that's not really possible. But it's like, man, God gives you the abilities and the privilege that we live here to, if you work hard at something, like you probably can get it here in the
Mhm.
country we live in, as long as it's not something crazy.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
hit the lottery being here in America.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
people would rather, maybe scroll on your phone for 3 hours a day or whatever, and I don't think God likes that.
no, I'm guilty of that, man. I'm guilty. I need to get off my phone and get in my Bible a lot more. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start doing that tonight
Yeah,
because I've been on it. I've been on it more than I should be I should be in my Bible more than I should be on my phone.
dude.
Yeah.
So, what is TikTok? Because I'm not on I mean, I'm on TikTok, but I don't follow anybody.
Yeah.
So only time I get on there on my desktop like once a week, and I'll put a few videos and schedule
Yeah.
them. I don't get
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Like when I get on there to schedule something, I'm not, like I said, I don't follow anybody, and I'm just like, the stuff that is on TikTok
Oh yeah.
is like, I'm
It's
like,
the
this
w-
is
it's the
evil
best.
stuff.
It's the best worst thing that ever came to the internet. Like
Yeah,
it's
I don't know if I should follow some hunting stuff just so that other stuff
yeah.
gets away, but it's like death and like weird, just some weird stuff, man.
Yeah, it'll send you all kind of stuff until it figures out what you like. And then it'll send you all the stuff you like and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's amazing how smart these computers are. They send you everything and like I mean it goes back to coveting, man. Like if I look at ASIO gear or I look at X's cameras or I look at, Lone Wolf or whatever stuff, just pops up. I think if my phone hears me say it, boom, there's 10 articles on the stuff that I was just looking at.
Oh yeah, dude.
And then
That's a funny topic, like to think about, like
yeah,
marketing, how that like almost like plays off of that the 10th commandment.
yeah.
It's almost like the devil
Yeah.
marketing,
Do you find yourself seeing stuff and wanting to buy stuff and you've already got good stuff and you're like, man, I
Dude,
want to have that.
today, dude, I probably have a $3,000 set of camera gear up here, like lenses and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours today on the internet, freaking just looking for. I'm like, man, I'd like to have this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just sit here in the front of this camera and talk to you guys. Like, I don't. This is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. You look
I'm
great
like,
on
what
the
am I
camera.
doing?
Yeah. He looks good on the
Thank
camera,
you.
guy. He don't look this good in person. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. It gives him an extra what do they say? What do you rate me?
Blemishes in my face.
Yeah. Yeah. No, what do they say on the shows on the internet? What do you
Make my
rate me on
teeth
a
white.
scale of 1 to 10? It gives Josh an extra couple of points.
Yeah.
Camera does. Mine
Like
takes
one,
it away, guys. I promise, it's taken away. But yeah, I mean, it's like you get on and man, it's bad. You get on the internet and you see stuff, and before you know it, you're clicking to buy it. I am, at least, because I'm a gear nut sometimes, and I
yeah,
like
me
to
too.
spend my money on hunting gear, which is stupid because every season I buy stuff and I spend all this money, and I go, man, like it didn't make me any better of a hunter. It didn't make my hunting experience any. Clothing can, a saddle or a nice stand if you're mobile
Yeah, it can
hunting.
make your experience better. Yeah.
There's certain things that can add to your, but you get to a point where you got everything you need, and then you're like, all right, what do I buy? Well, let me get a new this or a new that, and it's like,
Let me get
like
another one of these things.
yeah, or it's like the bows, like you were saying, like oh man, I'm gonna get a new bow this year. Well, I mean, my bow that I've had for 20 years, she's just as good as the last two bows I've bought, and I'm not one to go through bows every year, but it's like, I mean, they all shoot pretty much the same feet per second. Since 2000, they're all pretty daggum quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all pretty easy to shoot. So really, like, I mean, we really get trapped in America with marketing
Oh
crap.
man,
Is that
bad.
coveting? Do you think that's coveting? I mean, would you
100%
consider
it is.
that? You
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean, you're
think.
taking away your resources to do things like for your family, for your church, for charity or whatever. I mean, you're just tying yourself up.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we want it I mean, we want it too much. Like we lust too much over that stuff.
Oh man, I do.
Think about how much we lust over a big buck. Like
Hmm.
you lose control of yourself. Some people, I mean, we all do. We lose control over our emotions whenever because we want something so bad.
Yeah,
You know,
can't sleep.
yeah.
Wake up checking my cameras all night long. I do that. I don't know how
Lose
many of y'all are guilty
relationships.
of that.
People lose relationships. People don't
Yeah,
go to church on Sundays. Like it's I'm guilty of all that.
yeah,
I'll be guilty of that this year. I guarantee it. It's like you know something I have to work on.
yeah. But you don't put it in front of your family, and you're like me. You're respectful to your wife, and you ask permission, and say, hey, I want to go out of town for a week to go to Kansas, which is pretty reasonable because it's going to take that long to hunt. So I think that's fair. But you
Yeah,
can't. You know, you got to. It's give and take. But yeah, man, it gets me all the time seeing these guys like seeing these guys that are right now hunting all over the country for turkeys. Man, I wish I could do that. I'm just
see,
not
I
strong.
don't have that want that. I don't have
I
that
do.
want, but
I want to go
yeah,
everywhere and kill a
yeah,
turkey all over the country. I mean, it just you get to and really just to see the country, not so much about an ego thing. And I mean, I love turkey hunting, but like, yeah, I see that. And when my friends get to go, I'm like, dang, I wish I could go. But I don't know if I'm coveting it, but I think there are people that probably get stuck in that trap that see these guys on TV, and that's all they do, man. I mean, that's if you don't have a family and kids, heck yeah,
yeah,
you can do it all you want.
yeah. I've learned something from my buddy like Scott Cronin, who's been in the outdoor world for a long time.
Hmm.
He kind of was talking to me when I first started doing this stuff. He goes, that all seems cool. Like all those guys that you think of or know, it's like that seems like they have an awesome life. But he's like 90% of them, man, their wife, they're either divorced, they don't got a pot to piss in, as they say,
Hmm. Yeah,
and they see their kids once every other weekend. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, he's like, man, it can be a slippery slope. Be careful, you know.
You know what's weird is when I worked in the hunting and fishing store, which is in the industry, I met a lot of guys that came in that store. You could not fathom the amount of hunters and fishermen that are not married, are 30, live at home with their mom and dad, and just have a little nothing job, um, making 20,000, 30,000 a year, so that they can continue to hunt.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking, where did their parents go wrong? Did they not say no enough? It's like, you know,
yeah,
I mean, I guess that's cool and all, but I kind of like being married and having a house and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If that's what you like to do, it's what you like to do. But
yeah,
I see where their priorities are on the wrong thing. Instead of what it should be on.
yeah. Well, I think we think that. I mean, I think we see that now, but probably when we were 10 years ago, we thought those guys were awesome.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, oh yeah,
I think that probably just comes with maturity and like uh your needs in life changing or your what makes you happy changes a little bit.
yeah. I didn't when I was in my 20s, man. I didn't care anything about marriage. I never even thought I'd be married, and here I am. Almost
Yeah.
10 years now. And I mean it's been great.
Mhm.
So, but I waited a while.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot when I was like when I was in college and stuff. I wanted to be a professional golfer, and like now that I've been out of it, like I know a bunch of professional golfers, and it's like,
Hmm.
man, they live a life I don't want to live. Like they,
John Daly.
yeah. Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking about particularly those guys. I mean, there's a small percentage of people that are in
John
that
Daly's.
on that life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like the vast majority of professional golfers are like struggling to make it, and
Yeah.
most of them aren't married because
Yeah.
you can't hardly be married, unless you're so wealthy and so good at it that you can just fly your family around with you. But uh, like a couple of my buddies growing up are professional golfers. Like you know, they may they may gross some years, they may gross some years, $500,000, but then there's like a few years in a row when they only make like 30 or $40,000, and then it's like, oh man, you know.
Yeah.
So, and like I
I
said,
couldn't.
they can't have a relationship because they're on the road, and
And they're practicing all the time. Every day's golf.
yeah,
Every day's job. And that's why hunting, like when I used to work at Buck and Bass and I was in hunting all the time and heard stories and talked deer all the time, turkey all the time, fishing all the time. It changed deer hunting for me. It made it where it wasn't as fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's probably why I took a little break in my 20s and got back into it, my late 20s and 30s again, is because it was like, I don't know, every day you're there 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. I'm talking to everybody about their stories about their big buck or the deer that got away or this gun or that gun. And you just are like, it's a job and it makes it not fun,
I really get burnt out at shows for that reason. It's like 10 hours of nothing but talking about gear or deer hunting. It's just like whew, at the end,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of said all that to like tell you the problem with coveting things is like you don't really know what other people are going through or how they ended up in the position they are or what, you know, this guy may have some cool stuff or he may be a professional hunter, but it's like that guy probably wishes he had your family and your home life. It's like
Yeah.
it all equals out in the end. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's no reason to want other things that people have because you got some blessings on the other side of the coin that others don't. And whenever you think about everything cool people have or do, you're just covering up things that they're thinking they wish they had your life. So
Yeah. Well, and the thing you got to remember is like none of this stuff means anything. It means nothing.
yeah, right.
It's all going to dissolve. It's all going to go away. We're going to go away. There's only one thing that's eternal.
Mm-hmm.
And like wanting something that's literally only got human value on it and absolutely no value to God is ridiculous.
Yeah. Dude, did you listen to the last 3 to 7 podcast?
I listened to the one on the trucks. I did not listen to the one before that. Did you see the one on the trucks today about the
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one he did. That was pretty cool. That F-250. I'm like, God, I want me a 7.3 F-250.
Yeah, right. That was a nice truck he was showing on that, dude. That was clean. But
that was really nice.
anyway,
$35,000 is what he paid for that 97 F2,
yeah.
which they go for that if they're in good condition with 115,000 miles on it. It's crazy what those 7.3s go for.
Oh, yeah, but them things are built way better than everything you can buy now.
Yeah. Solid steel bumpers. The engine is rock solid, bulletproof, million-mile motor. I mean, those things are really, really made well.
Well, anyways, he does like speaking engagements a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the last podcast, his brother owns the company with him in 3 to 7. They both are partners in it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Blake's the money guy. He like does all the money. He goes, how much can we buy a human skull for?
Holy crap.
And they like looking up, it was like $2,000. You can get a human skull. Yeah.
What?
And he's like, buy one. He's like, get it right now. Go ahead and buy it. Get it here next week. Before next week, And like, what on earth do you want a human skull for,
Crazy.
And he's like, I want before I go up on stage, I want to hand this out to the crowd and have them passed around. And he said, the first thing I'm going to do before I get on there is to tell them, like, you see that skull you're holding in your hand? He's like, that is going to be you in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And like to put things in perspective, like this is you on earth in a very short amount of time. He's like, it doesn't matter what you do here, or what how what happens here. It's like, you got to put your perspective towards God, not perspective towards earthly things.
Yeah. You do what God commands you to do. And you don't worry about what the world wants. And I think that's why we're so far off in the world right now. It's because everybody's too daggum concerned about what they want and what the world sees as cool. And, what TikToker, YouTuber, Instagrammer went viral this week. And, people want that clout from that. And I mean, it's like, dude, it's so much more peace in being a Christian and trying to do better than it is in trying to keep up with the Joneses. You know what I mean? I've been guilty of that, man. God, when I used to help with Brian, my friend he's got tons of money. I mean, he can buy stuff that I could never dream of, but I'd see something, like, man, I want to have that. I'd get it. And I wasn't trying to keep up with him. I just see it and I'd be like, ooh, I want, and you just can't do that. And he wasn't doing that. He's not a kind of guy that, is like that. He's a Christian, good influence Christian guy. But yeah, man, I think we all are guilty. And worry about what everybody else is doing too much.
Yeah. And like a lot of these people, a lot of the guys that are our age listening to this is probably like, we're probably preaching to the choir a little bit on this episode. I don't know how many young kids listen to this, but like, it seems like it's much harder to have this type of an attitude when you're younger, because there's so much you haven't done, or there's so many things you haven't went through or
Mm-hmm.
bought or whatever in your
You're
life.
selfish. You're selfish
Like,
when you're younger.
yeah. Yeah. And like how many kids get out of school and the first thing they do, man, is they go take out a big old loan and a brand new pickup. It's
Yep.
like, and then
Yep.
you got to sell it. Like everybody sells them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's
Yeah.
because like, man, oh, wait a minute. This actually doesn't make me that happy. And
Hey,
it's keeping me from being happy, you know?
yeah, the boy that works for me, Titus, he he wants a new truck, and he's got a nice truck. He's 18. It's 2-wheel drive, but he's put like a lot of money into it. It looks like a 4-wheel drive. He's got a leveling kit on it, Gladiator tires, stereo in it and tinted, and it's it's like a 2011 or 2012 F-150 extended cab, and it's got the Coyote engine in it, which is an engine everybody wants, and he's like, yeah, I'm selling my truck. I'm wanting to get me a King Ranch. I'm like, why, dude? It's paid for. Like,
Yeah.
why?
You know how valuable it is to have a paid for vehicle?
Oh, he'll find out. He'll
Yeah.
find out. He's like, well, look at the bright side. I'm going to be working for you all the time. And I said, I guess so. You can
Yeah,
work for me
right.
while you're
You tie him
while you're going
down.
to school. Yeah.
Go ahead and buy one, I guess.
Yeah. He's been looking at them, man, for like, and I've been trying to. I was like, man, the market is falling out on those things. Just give it some time. Let the election happen. He's like, oh, no, I got to get it. I got to get it. He got him a Can-Am 4-wheeler a few weeks ago, and he's trying to keep up with the Joneses and all his friends and stuff. Like, man,
Yeah,
God, I wish I could have told myself what I'm telling him
I know.
20 years ago.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, even if some kids listen to this right now, it's like it doesn't do any good anyway.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, and what I was saying is about coveting, like people, like when we were out. I did a thing last year when I was on fire with the Bible, man, and my 6 minutes a day thing. I tell everybody
Yeah.
that's my little saying. And man, you just never know who you're going to reach. I had a couple people call me, and then yesterday when I was hunting with my veterinarian, he told me that I inspired him to start reading his Bible last year. So there's some things more important than having nice things. You can make a difference in somebody's life sometimes by just showing up and trying to walk the walk that we all need to be walking. You know what I mean? People see that and then they go, I want that. Like, I want that peace. I want that comfort. I want that relationship with Christ, which I think that's a good thing to want, to see another person, another man or whatever doing that. Versus I want a truck like he's got. I want a bow like he's got. I want a boat, it's just a waste, man.
Yeah, it is. It's like, and people put. I mean, and when I say people, I mean myself included. Like, we put so much energy into thinking about that stuff too.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's sometimes like with hunting gear, especially back 10 years ago, I would go down rabbit holes with gear, and that's all I would think about and do and try to find deals. And I'm like, man,
if you could have all that money back.
I was getting ready to say that if I could have all that money back that I spent on buying crap and,
I was going to ask you, I was like, yeah, I got that trad bow coming in. And I was going to say, hey man, do you know anybody with some arrows? I know a guy that's got a bunch of them for the apocalypse.
Yeah. Those aren't for sale yet.
Yeah. You got to wait till the value goes up on them. Need they'll be
comment right.
Yeah, Walking Dead, man. Those are going to be sold when the zombies start. The zombie apocalypse happens.
You'll know when the apocalypse comes because I won't have to do this anymore. I'll have so much arrow inventory.
Yeah, you'll sell them.
Yeah,
$100 an arrow. Oh no, 100 waters per arrow.
I'll retire on that. Those jokers.
Yeah, you'll be sitting on a pile of water and spam.
Shorts bring in a lot of like people that don't watch the show or don't know us or know us. But like there was so many people in the comment section that thought I was serious about that.
I thought it was hilarious. I looked at it today, man. It did really good too. Like that's another short you did that's done really good. It was had like 14,000 or something, maybe more than that. I don't know. I was just kind of scrolling through to see how our shows were doing, and check comments and make sure I like them and respond to the ones that I felt like, needed a response. And, when I saw that today, I was like, wow, that short really did pretty good.
Yeah,
I
it was
laughed
kind
at
of.
that one. That was a good one.
It's it doesn't happen very often, but you'll hit a like a sweet spot with YouTube and the algorithm, and you'll get like 6,000 views in the matter of an hour, and it's
Yeah.
pretty cool to like watch the numbers go up real fast. It's just when you're like it's rewarding, I guess, because you work
Yeah.
to make that video and stuff, and
Yeah.
then to see it be successful. Like most of them just kind of peter up until they get a couple
Yeah.
thousand views and they stop. Whereas that
Yeah.
one was like,
Yeah.
so same with your video about when you were helping that our
Turkey.
waiter there.
Yeah, with turkey. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's cool too because you never know, and it's nice to see that people like what you're putting out. It makes you feel like you're doing something worth something to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And my friend Jonathan, he did a TikTok with his kids holding and I bet you somebody on here's seen it if they have TikTok. They're holding a frame, and he had feather art done in it with his turkeys. He has an Osceola
Yes.
done. And he did that. Like, he is the only person who up to that time had shown that. And the guy that did it was Jeff Fredericks. He's in Wisconsin, and he is the OG of doing that. He is awesome. And like now, every time I go on TikTok in the last 3 weeks, everybody's trying to copy that. And
Yeah.
there's not
I've seen a
one
few of
that,
them.
yeah, there's not one that looks like a Jeff Fredericks. I mean, he is really an artist with that stuff. And it's like a guy that's not artistic saying, "Oh, I can glue some feathers to a piece of board and make it look good." You got to have that artistic eye. And man, Jeff Fredericks is the man to do it. And I got some feathers. I'm going to try it myself. I'm not going to put my stuff on TikTok unless it looks good. I'm a little artistic. I draw and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it. But it was wild. Jonathan did that. And I think it got like 40,000 views.
Yeah, something like that can really take off.
It was like something crazy, like 16,000 likes. He got so many messages from people from those 2 videos. And then he made another video telling everybody who did it and showing off his other birds. Like, he's got one of every subspecies done in his house that Jeff has done.
Yeah.
And
I
I got one to send him.
I'd rather have something like that than a full body mount, I think, of a turkey.
Well, they look kind of more classy in your house too. Your wife, if your wife doesn't like dead stuff hanging around everywhere, they're cool. Like, my wife thinks they're awesome. Like, I could put that in my living room, and I guarantee you all her friends and her and family, they'd see it and they'd be like, wow, that's really cool looking. It's where a dead bird, they'd be like, why you got that up there?
Yeah. Well, and they're bulky and take up a lot of room, and you can't really do much with them. And I mean, if I lived in some big, cool log cabin and had like a balcony ceiling or something, I could see me putting a cool couple gobblers up like that. But
yeah, you don't want to be eye level with them every time you walk through your house.
Yeah.
like whoa, middle of the night, you're walking through to go to the bathroom, you're like half asleep. Whoa, there's a gobbler gobbling at me right here.
Yeah, they're also extremely expensive to get mounted.
Yeah, they're like $1,600 now. That's what
I
a
know.
gobbler costs. They were $800 back when I even thought about doing it in the early 2000s, and now they're like if you want a good one, and we have 2 good taxidermists near us. I mean, that thing looks alive. They're $1,600, man. It's expensive.
Yeah.
One of them was showing, like, they have classes. They both do classes, but one will let you come and sit in, and he'll help you, like, over 3 days. He'll help you mount your bird, and kind of mentor you if you wanted to get into mounting. I mean, it's pretty cool. But I've seen how they do that stuff. I'm not interested in all that fleshing and stuff like that.
You have to have a lot of patience and a lot of detail work.
Artistic ability.
Yeah.
Big time.
You can draw real well, though.
Yeah, I can draw. If I see it, I can draw. I can usually draw. If I'm inspired, man, I can't, like, if you said, hey, man, draw a portrait of this, I don't know, whatever, me and my dad, I'd be like, I don't want to draw a portrait of you, Dad.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it because I just don't. My ADHD kicks in. I'm like, I'm not paying attention.
I don't like this. Yeah.
If I see something, I get locked into it, like that camper that I remodeled.
Yeah.
I can do anything, but I have to, like, get zoned into it. But yeah, I wish I could focus that a little bit more.
My mom's artistic, and I just didn't get that Gene, man, I'm not very good at drawing.
No,
And
I think you did because you do a good job with your videos and stuff. I
yeah,
mean,
maybe
this
so.
is
Maybe
art.
some,
This isn't art, but the hunting videos and the little shorts that you do and the things you do to help people and stuff and kind of show them different
yeah,
techniques.
yeah.
I mean, that's art.
I meant more like, yeah, drawing or doing like taxidermy or something like that. I don't think I'd be good at that.
Yeah, I don't. You have to have a passion for doing that, I think. And then think about it. You're always mounting people's deer. I mean, you wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to even hunt. Most of those taxidermists don't even get time to hunt.
No, my uncle doesn't hunt.
Yeah, they quit.
Not
There's like,
deer.
yeah, they
Yeah,
hate it.
he hunts coyotes and stuff, but not deer. So
Yeah,
I
they
don't
get
have any.
out of it.
I don't have any interest in really stopping hunting deer.
No, I like to keep my hobbies, and my work, my work. When you start
Yeah,
kind of overlap, I mean, I overlap them with video. I like videoing my hunts now, like turkey hunting. I don't not go and not carry a camera with me. It just feels weird to not have a camera at this point. And I remember you and Dan talking about that one time, how you kind of get used to having it with you,
yeah,
and you get to the point where you're like, dang,
feels
I
weird.
always want my camera with me. It's weird. It's an extra step, and it probably costs you a lot of opportunities, but it's just weird not carrying it now.
Yeah, you get better at it too, and it kind of becomes second nature. So to where as you get better, you lose less opportunities.
Yeah,
Um, it's such a big. The problem with filming is the learning curve initially is kind of pretty drastic to where it's like
it's
a pain.
yeah, and you got to think out how you're going to do it too, so that you have the footage to edit later to look good and make a show out of. That's the biggest thing,
Yeah,
you know, not just
yeah,
going and strapping a camera to the tree and like putting it down and when the deer walks in, turn it on, taking the shot. Like it's all the other stuff before that that keeps people engaged watching your content. That's the
yeah,
hard thing to figure out. But I think once
yeah.
it's kind of like
Well,
rent.
we we used to always like request um viewers footage and stuff if they had anything to make a video about, but I mean 95% of it would come in and it'd just be like a kill shot and then that'd be the end of it. It's like, well,
Mhm.
it's hard to do something with that.
Yeah,
Um but I mean that's fine too. Like that's most of the interesting part if you're going to just make them for yourself. That's
yeah,
fine. Whatever you want to do.
yeah.
Um
John's got tons of footage, man. He's got like 20, 30 years worth of footage somewhere of kills.
yeah.
And I mean, and he never throws anything away. So it's somewhere in a box over at his house. He's like, I'll go through it and give it to you for your channel. I was like, dude, it's all on like,
Well, but that'd be a mess.
it's all on like what those little tapes. Remember the little tapes that you put in?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, dude, I can't do anything with that little tape. I was like, I mean, you'd have to just no. I was like, I can't do it. We can watch them. I mean, I don't know. We can take a video of us watching your videos and then put it on
Right.
YouTube as, hey, we watch kill shots, but
Mm.
he's got a bunch of them. I think they're all turkeys. I don't think he does it much for deer.
Oh really?
Well, you know how it is. It's too hard. Turkey hunting, video and turkey hunts is easy, in my opinion. Video and deer hunts, that's a whole different ball game. You know.
Yeah, because turkeys are in a little bit more of a controlled environment.
Hmm. Yeah, you're on the ground. You can get away with more movement, believe it or not. I think you can, and you kind of can set the camera up to where they're coming. You can hear them.
They're calling them into a certain
Yeah,
direction.
yeah. And when you deer hunt, you kind of know, hey, they're kind of walk this way, but heck, he could come from behind me. So now I got to turn the whole camera around to get him on, and then I got to make the shot. So it's just a whole different ball game. It's hard to do. I admire the really good self filmers. I admire the way they did. Like Jonathan that we had on last week, man, that
Hmm.
video he made. I mean, it's hard to
Really
believe
good.
that he doesn't do any more editing and stuff than he does because that was
Yeah,
pretty daggum perfect.
that's why I told him. I was like, man, that was really good.
Yeah.
Um,
And the other one he made, did you see the other one that he did with
mhm.
the 10-point? I mean, both of
Yeah,
those were
yeah,
daggum
good.
great
They're good.
videos. Yeah.
Yep.
Covet him. I'm coveting him right now. I'm coveting his
Yeah,
work.
right. It's a weird line to draw. Like I don't know what. I mean, I don't know what is and isn't, but
Yeah. I don't think
it
that
probably
is.
all is in in some weird way.
Yeah. Thank God for
Uh,
Christ. That's all I
yeah.
can say.
I mean, if our goal is to be like Christ, like that's all he did his whole life was, um, whatever his father wanted him to do, and
God's will.
yeah, and taught 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 the word of God, and um, we are all far from doing that all the time.
Man, I'm reading what
So
Elizabeth said. She was out on the lake yesterday catching walleye and then rig from 10 to 2. Man,
we feel bad for you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I got to start driving. I got a friend. He was talking about the trucking industry and stuff yesterday, and he sells fuel cards, and I think he's got, his company has the best discounts in the country. Elizabeth, if you're interested, the name of his company is TCS. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but anyway, he sells those fuel cards, and he was talking about trucking industries and how a lot of people flooded into it back during COVID, because these big companies cut people, so they went out and bought trailers and started their own, and how a lot of them are having to go back, stuff like that. But anyway, that was off topic. I just saw a comment up there and figured I'd entertain that.
Tired Redneck says, I'm 27 and regret not taking the computer classes for learning editing and photography classes. Dude, it's all on YouTube now. Just that's all I did to learn all this stuff. I didn't take any classes either. You're whatever 6 years younger than me. Plenty of time, man.
Oh yeah, you heck. And the thing you're saying about computer and editing and photography classes, like either you are artistic and can do it, and it's the time it takes, and it's a commitment, but as far as the computer and the editing stuff, that software changes daily. So I don't think a class would help you out much. You just kind of got to get in there and learn it.
Yeah, you can learn some basic, like how to produce transitions and little things like that. But the biggest thing with making a good video is it has to tell some kind of a story. Learning the 3-act narrative of a beginning, middle, and end of a story.
Yeah.
That's the important part. I think all the other stuff's a little bit of noise when it comes to making a video, because you can literally just start if you have a good story in your head to produce in a video, and you have the footage. It's from there you can just throw it on an editing software and just literally start the editing process by okay, I want to change scenes here. Let's get on YouTube and see how to do that. And okay, I learned how to do that. And now oh, I want this to happen. Just then go to YouTube and learn, how to do a voiceover, or how to, include music in my, in my editing process. And then by the time you're done with a full video, maybe a 10-minute video, you've learned 4 or 5 different things, and then do it again. And all of a sudden you've learned, a couple more things. And now you have a dozen talents with editing. So that's
thumbnails. The thumbnails are kind of difficult to learn from the start, but they're probably one of the most important things you do is the thumbnail and your title, because that's what grabs people's attention.
Well, yeah, for it. When you say YouTube. Yeah, that's
YouTube,
YouTube thing. Yeah, I'm just talking about
just making a video.
Yeah. Yeah, all that stuff that's why that short did so well on the apocalyptic arrow thing. It's just the title was good.
Is that your Hebrews there that John put up? Hebrews 13:5?
Yeah, John's putting a bunch of stuff in here, some really good verses. And yeah, I read some of those at the beginning, or mentioned them. But yeah, that Hebrews one, the 13:5, I remember the chapter. I can't remember the verse, but 13:5.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, 1 Timothy. I read that one earlier. I didn't write it out loud. I just read it earlier.
I feel content with what I have. Like he says, we have to be content. I feel content with what we have, but man, when I see stuff like gear, that's when I really have issues with always wanting stuff. For whatever reason.
You did a good job buying the bow yesterday. You didn't buy the fancy one or anything. You just bought the cheapest one.
$99. I just listened to you and what Jonathan said last week when we got off the air about what kind of bow to buy, and I was like, I'll just give it a try. $99. And when I talked to Jonathan today about it, he said, "Oh yeah, man." He goes, "I know guys that hunt with those. Same thing y'all said, and they kill deer with them, and that's all they hunt with is that $99 Samick Sage or Black Hunter." He says those are good bows and as good as anything.
Yeah, they're just not as cool as the other one. They're not custom made or anything.
Custom and
yeah. Well, if you get one and like it, then you can get a custom one year. But
yeah, he had his made by an Indian. That's what I would like. I would like mine made by an American Indian. An Indian warrior here in East Tennessee made his. His name's Joe Darnell. I don't know the name of his company, but he makes some really good bows. And that guy, he said that he shoots he said that he shoots 35 or 40 pounds is what he likes. And he says every, not Jonathan, but the Joe Darnell guy. Jonathan shoots 50 pounds, I think is what he told me, 50 or 55. I think
that's what mine is, 50.
I think he shoots 50 or 55. But he said, man, it's all in your setup. He says it doesn't matter. He says every shot he's got 12 yards and under is always a pass through.
Yeah.
He says it's just all in your setup.
What did he say about the arrow and stuff? Was he kind of just the same thing I did, or
same thing you did? Yeah, he's shooting 630 grains, I think is what he shoots, and he shoots a Simmons shark, and he said the same thing, 100 grain brass insert. You know, he said probably like a 400 spine arrow would probably be what I need. You know, so yeah, I mean, I got you and him are two really good sources of information for me to get started with it. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think if you don't have an arrow cutter, you may want to just go ahead and get the 400 spine and then leave them full length.
Yeah, didn't Zeke? He said Zeke got a really sweet custom bow made by heart. Is that the one? Didn't you make one for Zeke?
Oh yeah,
that's awesome, man. I was gonna actually ask you to make me a bow. I was gonna say, "Will you make me a bow and I'll pay you for it?" Because I'd like to have something like that from a friend. But
yeah, dude, like, man, a buddy of mine gave me $200 to make him a bow a while back, and I've tried to bake it twice and I've broken it twice. So I can't do it.
Have you ever gone to anybody and had anybody help you, or did you just try to do it on your own?
No, I bought Clay Hayes' video. He has a video that teaches you how to do it.
Okay.
I need to just probably go back to that video and slow down a little bit when I'm making my next one. But yeah, it's a frustrating process or it can be. So
yeah.
There's a local bowyer here that's not too far away that I can go. He's told me, several times to come and he'd help me build another one, but just haven't done it yet. I just haven't found the time to spend a few. It takes you a few days to build one. So,
have you built one for yourself?
Yeah, I think I built 4 bows now.
Have you killed one with the one you made?
Mm.
You haven't yet. I know Jonathan Moreland killed one with one. He made a self bow, and he filmed himself killing. I think he killed I don't know if it's a buck or doe with it, but he made a video of himself killing one with a self bow. I thought that was pretty awesome. I'd like to do that, man. Like that stuff right there is like, really something to, I don't know, be proud of, build your own stuff
cool.
and then go out there and kill it.
Pretty cool.
There's people that don't make their own broadheads out of stone and
all that
crazy wooden arrows and all that crazy stuff. And I'm coveting them right now. I'm coveting them.
I haven't. I hunted with it a bunch. I just never got one in front of me.
Yeah.
The one that Zeke has now is the one I hunted with a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's but I never committed to hunting with it like full time.
Yeah.
I missed a turkey with it one year. I doe hunted with it quite a bit, but just never got one within 15 yards. With that thing, I really liked them to be close.
Yeah.
10 yards would have been real nice, but
and that's what Jonathan says. He likes them under 15. 12 is the sweet spot. We'll shoot him at 18, but that's pretty daggum close. Yeah, I look at my bow shots that I've made, and a lot of them are between that 25 and 35 yard range. It seems like.
Yeah. Well, you ready to hop off here?
Whatever you want to do. We'll just keep talking.
Doug, PA bow hunter, 12 to 17 yards. Yep, that's pretty good. That's good. Yep. You can still miss them there, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I can't wait for you to get it. I'm ready for you to start shooting it. And have you decided if you're going to go with a glove or a tab yet?
I don't know. I'm probably going to buy both and see which one I like while I'm practicing. Yeah, and then I think when I was working at the sporting goods store that I worked at, I think I always shot a tab when we play around with them. I never shot, believe it or not, John, he shoots instinctive and with a tab, but he used to shoot at he had an old Hoyt. It's the one Bob Fulcrod shot, Chuck Jones. It was a really long, like 40-inch axle Hoyt is what John used to shoot. And he used to have competitions with his friends on shooting how many does they could shoot in the head in a year. and he's got 2 or 3 skulls with the arrow from back to front from where he shot those in the head with the bow. He's a mess, man. But yeah, he shot for years, dude. Shot for years with no sights.
Really?
Yep. And then he just, he doesn't bow hunt anymore. He likes to he shoots that crossbow or, his gun. He's one of those guys. No.
It's like Ted Nugent. He always used to shoot without sight on his compound.
Yeah. John, he's always shot. He shot without sights for a long time. I remember he'd come in, and I used to work on his bow, and he'd bring it in and get arrows done every year. And that's before we started hunting together. When I worked that's where I met him. And he'd bring it in, and I'd work on it. And I'd be like, "Man, where's your sights?" He goes, "Oh man, I don't use sights." He shoots fingers, and shooting a compound, and that's when they were 65% let off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he just looks down the arrow and shot. It's pretty cool.
It's like the Fitzgeralds. They used to do that too. I think they still do. Shoot without sights.
Yeah. Dan, he's a heck of a shot. And then Guy.
Yeah.
We used to make fun of their videos, man. Those old videos that they had. I mean, they're 100% like that's Michigan. Like that's Michigan right there, buddy. Backwoods, Michigan. Like you got backwoods, Tennessee. You got backwoods, every other. Yeah, that's backwoods the way they are. But him and Guy, I think it was just a running joke because they'd shoot it was, and they'd play that music. The name of this video is called "It's Going Down." I don't know if you remember that video.
No,
play music. It go dun, 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 it's going down. Dun, dun, dun. When the deer would walk up, and I think Guy was sitting in a blind, and it was like his first deer or something. And I want to say like gut shot it. It was the guts right there.
It's going down.
And I mean, they killed the deer,
and
like,
about 8 hours from now.
Huh? Do what? Yeah,
it's going down tonight in about 8 hours.
Yeah, he was a hoot though. He said, he wears his hat to the side. Yeah, and he said, why I wear my hat to the side? So deer think I'm looking the other way.
My grandpa used to always tell me that.
Yeah, he said that, and I was thinking, man, this guy's crazy. And I started following him on Facebook the other day, and now it's all I see is Dan Fitzgerald. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
cool memories. He's always got that red flannel on and that big beard. Yeah. And, that northern accent. And for us Southerners, that's funny to us.
I don't know. I must have missed those. Like I know all of those guys. I mean, I know who he is and stuff, but I must have missed some of their videos and stuff, or just didn't.
Man, this is back in the 90s. I used to rent them on VHS at the store. We used to have a little rental section that we rented hunting videos, and I used to rent all those on VHS. I got all the Primos videos, all the Truth videos, like the originals that are on VHS upstairs in a box. And
I had a whole closet full of hunting DVDs.
Yeah.
I actually took a bunch of them to Johnny Stewart's cabin last time I went and left them there, but
they're fun to watch, man. I mean, I don't have anything to watch them with because I don't have a VHS player, but they actually started putting them on YouTube.
Yeah,
the old stuff on YouTube. This Truth About Spring is on YouTube, and man, those are just so many good memories watching those videos with my dad. Man, that was just
we all grew up. Doug said that he grew up watching that stuff. Man, that's how we all grew up. Man, those were the good days. Yeah,
man. And there was no egos in that stuff. Like they didn't know what the hell they were doing either. Like they were out there, like totally winging it. They were good hunters, but I mean, heck, Toxie shot. I remember Toxie shot that 6-point, nice big 6-point down in Mississippi somewhere, and it ran into a slough and died. Got hung up in a vine, and what's his name? Cuz waded out in it in his underwear. And they said, man, we're gonna have to name those Cuz drawers. He says, heck, it's gonna take a whole something yard of fabric to make a set, but how much you think we made? It was just funny. And I remember those videos like it was yesterday and watching with my dad and laughing at that stuff. And that was when hunting was wholesome.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Those legends.
I don't know.
Heck, Mark Drury, I remember when he won the national turkey calling contest, and he was on Primos. He was on the Truth 2. I think it was 2. He came down, and his brother wasn't even on there. He just came down there, man. He was like 20 or 22. Yeah. And he was on the Primos video, and he was a nobody, and then look at what he's done, so.
Dude, it's insane how many of those guys get started in the turkey hunting world, not the deer hunting world.
Well, back then there was so much lore around the turkey hunter.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like nobody turkey hunted, and the guys that were killing turkeys, like those guys, And I mean, they probably weren't even that great when they started in the 80s. They were probably good, like most guys, but they were probably not that great. And they started, you know, it was just, who do you want? Turkey hunting is such a, like, some people don't like it. Some people love it and are ate up with it. And some people could take it or leave it, or they do it because there's nothing else to do. I mean, I love it. I love bow hunting whitetails, of course, way more. That's my thing, because there's so much more of a challenge, in my opinion, to that. But turkey hunting used to be, I mean, it was something that everybody looked at. You had a ring of spurs around your neck and you could call. People really took notice to that back in
some value in that back then.
Yeah, back in the 90s, because nobody did it, and everybody was like, wow, that guy kills turkeys consistently, because most people didn't have turkeys back then. And so if you were killing turkeys consistently, man, you were really doing
You had something figured out that nobody else did.
It was like the guy that kills a big buck every year kills big bucks. Back then, nobody did it. So everybody was like watching their content, trying to figure out how to be like them. And, you know, now you get to see everybody's stuff that they kill because of the social media and the internet. So it's just kind of lost its lure. But I think the deer hunting stuff, I think it still has a lot of its, you know, still people want to learn how to kill big bucks, you know, because it's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
well, there's just so many more deer hunters in the world too. I mean,
yeah. I wonder what the number ratio would be, like deer hunters to
turkey hunters.
I bet there's 10 or 20 deer hunters to every turkey hunter. I bet. And there's a lot of turkey hunters now too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't even really know where to begin with that number, but I bet it's pretty skewed to the deer hunting side.
Yeah. If you look at the NWTF show from 20 or 30 years ago, and you probably compare the numbers of people that attended then to the numbers of people attending now, probably give you a good idea of what the number, but man, people have been deer hunting, you know, since forever, you know,
right.
For sport, probably for 70 years, probably for sport.
Yeah.
You know, some kind of sport, not to just eat.
Right.
So.
Okay. Let's get off here, Patrick.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
See y'all. God bless y'all. Have a good week.
Subscribe button. I don't know where it is. Down over there, probably. Oh, Patrick's in my way. All right, everybody. Talk to you probably Thursday. Peace.
Night.